Today on MTG Unpacked, we're taking a look at the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander deck, Blood Rites. So this is a white-black deck. You get a collector booster sample pack, 2 legendary traditional foils, and let's see what this is about. So we've got some fun lore at the top there. We get a 100 card deck with 10 new cards. Deck box, 10 double-sided tokens, foil etched display commander life wheel, strategy insert, and reference card. Okay, so let's get into it here. So what does this say? Blood, sweat, tears, blood, and blood. Okay then. They always like to have fun with these. So this deck is currently going for about $48 US on TCG Player. Be sure to use the link in the description with the affiliate code there to help out the channel. Alright, so we have a deck here. We've got some info about it. What is in this thing? Bunch of stuff here. Okay, so let's take a look first at the collector booster sample pack. So just to give you a little bit of a taste of the collector boosters. So just 2 cards in here, not including the ad card. So there's more where that came from. Okay then, and what do we have? It is Roaming Throne. Okay, borderless art and a foil Zawawa Lava Tongue Goblin Warlock. Awesome. I really like what they've done with the goblins in this set. Okay, and of course we had the punch outs on that thing. And here we have a deck box with the vampire on the side. Very cool. And then a life wheel here. So you're going up to 20 on one side and up to 40 on the other. So let's see what this deck is about. Blood Rites, playing the deck. Okay, so this is delightful. We've got Vampire Demons. Interesting. Clavenio is the commander. And we've got some commander rules here in case you're new to the format. So there's the commander. On the other side, it is Clavenio, first of the blessed. And he looks very sinister indeed. So we'll see what this deck is all about. Very interesting. There are no red vampires here. It's all white and black. And there have been other pre-constructed vampire decks in the past. I think there's been like 2 of them, I'm going to say. And let's get into the display commander here. So this is a thicker card stock, as you can tell. Clavenio. I'm always going to have trouble with that. First of the blessed. So this is something you would not be putting in your deck. You would be using it purely for display. Okay, we'll cut the deck here. And here is the regular version of the card. Clavenio, first of the blessed, legendary creature, vampire, cleric. It's a mythic. 2/2 for 1, white and black. Whenever you attack target attacking vampire that isn't a demon, becomes a demon in addition to its other types. It gains when this creature dies, draw a card and create a tapped 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. That is craziness. And another possible commander here. We've got Carmen Cruel Sky Marcher, legendary creature vampire soldier. It's another mythic. 2/2 for 3 white and black, has flying. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Carmen Cruel Sky Marcher and you gain 1 life. Whenever Carmen attacks, return up to 1 target permanent card with mana value less than or equal to Carmen's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Awesome. And Martyr of Dusk, creature vampire soldier, 2/1 for 1 and a white. When it dies, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Return to Dust, it's an instant for 2 and 2 white. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast a spell during your main phase, you may exile up to 1 other target artifact or enchantment. Swords to Plowshares. It's a instant for a single white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. We got Blood Artist. Creature vampire 0/1 for 1 and a black. Whenever it or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So a nice reprint. Bloodline Necromancer, creature Vampire Wizard, 3/2 for 4 and a black with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target vampire or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Dusk Legion Zealot, and you'll notice a lot of these vampires are from the original Ixalan block. So creature Vampire Soldier, 1/1 for 1 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Falconwrath Noble, creature Vampire Noble, 2/2 for 3 and a black with flying. Whenever Falconwrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Indulgent Aristocrat, creature Vampire Noble, 1/1 for a single black, has lifelink for 2, sack a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Oathsworn Vampire, creature Vampire Knight, 2/2 for 1 and a black. It enters the battlefield tapped. You may cast it from your graveyard if you gain life this turn. And there is a ton of life gain in this deck, apparently. Village Rites. Instant for a single black as an additional cost to cast a spell. Sacrifice a creature. Draw 2 cards. And Viscera Seer. Creature Vampire Wizard. 1/1 for a single black. Sacrifice a creature. Scry 1. We got Bartolome Del Presidio, legendary creature, Vampire Knight, 2/1 for white and a black. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on Bartolome Del Presidio. Cruel Celebrant, creature, Vampire, 1/2 for a white and black. Whenever it or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Etchings of the Chosen, enchantment for 1 white and black. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. So you're going to pick vampires or demons, I guess. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. And for 1, sack a creature of the chosen type. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Legion Lieutenant, creature Vampire Knight, 2/2 for white and black. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. Arcane Signet, artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Commander's Sphere, artifact for 3. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And if you sacrifice it, you get to draw a card. Heirloom Blade, it's an artifact equipment for 3. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Equip it for 1. Mind Stone, artifact for 2. Tap for colors for 1. Tap, sack it, draw a card. Oars of Signet, it's an artifact for 2. For 1, tap, you get to add white and black mana. Soul Ring, of course, one in every commander deck these days. It's an artifact for 1. Tap for 2, colorless. Swiftfoot Boots, artifact equipment for 2. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equip it for 1. And Talisman of Hierarchy, artifact for 2. Tap for colorless or tap to add white or black. It deals 1 damage to you. We've got Wayfarer's Bauble, artifact for 1. For 2, tap, sack it, search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And I'm liking the new artwork for some of these cards. Bajuka Bog, gets a land, enters the battlefield, tap. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard, tap for black. Command Tower, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And Myriad Landscape enters, tap, tap for colors for 2. Tap, sack it, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that show a land type. Put them onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. We've got Oars of Basilica, enters tapped. When it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for white or black. Charismatic Conqueror, I think this is one of the new cards. Creature Vampire Soldier, 2/2 for 1 and white, has vigilance. Whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. So making your opponents pay for their untapped creatures. Arlender's Hierophant, creature Vampire Cleric, 1/1 for 2 and white with flying. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Arlender's Hierophant. And when it dies, create X 1/1 vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is its power. We've got March of the Canonized, enchantment for X and 2 white. When it enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if your devotion to white and black is 7 or greater, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Redemption Choir, creature vampire cleric 3/3 for 2 and 2 white with lifelink, has Coven, so whenever it enters battlefield or attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And we've got a Dusk Legion Sergeant, creature vampire soldier 2/2 for 1 and a black with menace. For 1 and a black, sack it. Each non-token vampire creature you control gains persist until end of turn. So that means when it dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Master of Dark Rites, creature vampire cleric 1/1 for a single black. Tap, sack another creature, add 3 black mana. Spend this mana only to cast vampire, cleric, and or demon spells. We've got Promise of Aclazot's enchantment for 1 and a black. So this has Foul Rebirth, 2 and a black, sorcery adventure. Sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Or the enchantment part is at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, populate. So that means create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. We got Order of Sacred Dusk, creature vampire knight, 5/5 for 6 white and black with convoke. So your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color, has flying, lifelink, and haste, and exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Other vampires you control have exalted. That is awesome. Austere Command, sorcery for 4 and 2 white. Choose 2. Destroy all artifacts. Destroy all enchantments. Destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less. Or destroy all creatures with mana value 4 or greater. Kindred Boon, enchantment for 2 and 2 white. As it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. For 1 and white, put a divinity counter on target creature you control of the chosen type. Each creature you control with a divinity counter on it has indestructible. And Mavrin Fine, Dusk Apostle, legendary creature vampire cleric 2/2 for 2 and a white. Whenever 1 or more non-token vampires you control attack, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. I remember that guy from Ixalan. Okay, getting stuck into more cards here. We have Radiant Destiny, enchantment for 2 and a white, has Ascend, so if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. As long as you have the city's blessing, they also have vigilance. Welcoming Vampire, this is a nice reprint. Creature vampire 2/3 for 2 and a white with flying. Whenever 1 or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Bloodghast, creature vampire spirit 2/1 for 2 black. It can't block and it has haste as long as an opponent has 10 or less life. With landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Bloodghast from your graveyard to the battlefield, so it keeps coming back. That is awesome. Blood Tracker, creature vampire wizard 2/2 for 3 and a black with flying. For black, pay 2 life. Put a +1/+1 counter on Blood Tracker, and when it leaves the battlefield, draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. Butcher of Malakir, creature vampire warrior 5/4 for 5 and 2 black with flying. Whenever it or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Champion of Dusk, creature vampire knight 4/4 for 3 and 2 black. When it enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. Cordial Vampire, creature vampire 1/1 for 2 black, and whenever it or another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Crossway Troublemakers, creature vampire 5/5 for 5 and a black. Attacking vampires you control have Death Touch and Lifelink. Whenever a vampire you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Damn! Sorcery for 2 black. Destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Or you can pay the overload cost here of 2 and 2 white. And if you do, change target in its text to each. Then we have Draenor, Liberator of Malakir. It's a mythic. Legendary creature, vampire ally, 2/3 for 1 and 2 black. Flying in first strike. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. Exquisite Blood. Here's a nice reprint. Enchantment for 4 and a black. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Glass Cast Heart. Artifact for 2 and a black. Whenever one or more vampires you control attack, create a blood token. So that's an artifact with pay 1, tap, discard a card, sack this artifact. You get to draw a card. And for a black, tap, pay 1 life, create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature token with lifelink. And for 2 black, tap, sack it, and 13 blood tokens. Each opponent loses 13 life, and you gain 13 life. That is craziness. New Blood, sorcery for 2 and 2 black. As an additional cost to cast a spell, tap and untap vampire you control. Gain control of target creature. Change the text of that creature by replacing all instances of one creature type with vampire. We got a Nighthawk Scavenger, creature vampire rogue, 1+* and 3 for 1 and 2 black, flying, death touch, and lifelink. Its power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. Olivia's Wrath, sorcery for 4 and a black. Each non-vampire creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of vampires you control. Pact of the Serpent, sorcery for 1 and 2 black. Choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of creatures they control of the chosen type. Patron of the Vein, creature vampire shaman, 4/4 for 4 and 2 black. With flying, when it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it and put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Sanctum Seeker, creature vampire knight, 3/4 for 2 and 2 black. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Timothar, Baron of Bats. It's another mythic. Legendary creature, vampire noble, 4/4 for 4 and 2 black with ward, and you have to discard a card. Whenever another non-token vampire you control dies, you may pay 1 and exile it. If you do, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. It gains when this creature deals combat damage to a player. Sacrifice it and return the exiled card to the battlefield tapped. Ooh, I love the artwork on this one. Twilight Prophet, creature vampire cleric. It's another mythic. 2/4 for 2 and 2 black with flying and ascend. So if you control 10 or more opponents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the city's blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that card's mana value. Yahenni, Undying Partisan, legendary creature, Aetherborn vampire, 2/2 for 2 and a black with haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yahenni and sacrifice another creature. Yahenni gains indestructible until end of turn. We got Alenda the Dusk Rose, another mythic. Legendary creature, vampire knight, 1/1 for 2 white and black with lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Alenda the Dusk Rose. And when Alenda dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is Alenda's power. Ooh, we got a planeswalker here. Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, legendary planeswalker Sorin. He's a mythic. 3 loyalty for 2 white and black. His +1, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token with lifelink, -2. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +1/+0 or -6. Destroy up to 3 target creatures and or planeswalkers. Return each card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. Nice one. We have Utter End, instant for 2 white and black, exile target non-land permanent. Vona, Butcher of Magan, another mythic. Legendary creature, vampire knight, 4/4 for 3 white and black with vigilance and lifelink. Tap, pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent. Activate only during your turn. Blade of the Blood Chief, artifact equipment for 1. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. If equipped creature is a vampire, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead, equip for 1. And we've got an isolated chapel, enters battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or swamp, tap for white or black. Shine, Shadow, Snarl. As it enters battlefield, you may reveal a plains or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield tap, tap for white or black. And Temple of Silence enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, tap for white or black. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Bunch of lands and tokens. So we'll set the tokens aside. We have Vault of the Archangel. It's a land, tap for colorless for 2 white and black. Tap. Creatures you control gain death touch and lifelink until end of turn. Boldaran Estate. Tap for colorless. Tap. Pay 1 life. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a vampire spell. And for 5 tap. Create a blood token. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each vampire you control. So we learned about the blood tokens earlier. Windbrisk Heights has Hideaway 4. So when this land enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It enters the battlefield tapped, tap for white, and for white, tap. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attack with 3 or more creatures this turn. Path of Ancestry enters tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Rogue's Passage, tap for colorless for 4 tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Secluded Courtyard. As it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap for colorless or tap to add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. Tainted Field, tap for colorless or tap for white or black. Activate only if you control a swamp. Temple of the False God, tap for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Unclaimed Territory. As it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap for colorless or tap to add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. Okay, so now we've got the basic lands. So plains, 8 of those. Swamps, 13 of those. Okay, so let's take a look at the tokens here. So we should have a ton of vampires. So we've got a 1/1 vampire with lifelink on the other side. A 4/3 vampire demon with flying. We've got a 1/1 vampire with lifelink on the other side. The vampire demon with flying. 1/1 lifelink, vampire demon. Okay. Another 1/1 vampire with lifelink. Different artwork though. We've got the vampire demon on the other side. The vampire again. Vampire demon. And a bat token. 1/1 with flying. On the other side, a 1/1 lifelink vampire. Another bat. And another vampire. Blood token, which they should give you tons of those. We've got a 1/1 lifelink vampire. Okay, we only get 1. Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. Emblem, creatures you control get +1/+0. That goes along with the Planeswalker card. We've got a 1/1 lifelink vampire. City's Blessing we learned about as well. 1/1 vampire with lifelink. And Parts of the Turn, popular Magic formats. So this is an awesome vampire deck. Lots of synergies with all the vampires. Of course, you've got a lot of creatures with flying. You've got creatures with lifelink. You're draining your opponent's life as well, as you would expect. So let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Looks pretty cool. And stay tuned, we'll get through the remaining 2 Lost Caverns of Ixalan decks shortly. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.